Everything is hard. Oh. Okay. First of all, a huge welcome back to everybody. Thank you so much for being patient with me. I know it's been about 2 or 3 weeks, and obviously not obviously, but my intention was to be a little bit more consistent than that. This video, funny enough, is got a lot to do with consistency. But yeah, it's Sunday. It's blazing. I am sweating through everything, but I am really in great spirits. So this morning I woke up and I had a date that I had planned with my mother as well as my nephew. My nephew is 8. My nephew's 8 years old, and he is incredibly smart, incredibly empathetic, incredibly tuned in, and every conversation I have with him is like the best conversation of my life. So anyway, we go to breakfast, have a wonderful time, and while we're at breakfast, he's talking to me about, you know, Korea and their nukes. I said nooks, and he was like, it's not nooks, because I know there's a difference between nooks and crannies, and then there's like the nukes that the Korean government has put in different places in the US, according to my nephew. So anyway, we're having this conversation, and then he says to me, he's like, I just really think that, you know, with you and James Charles, you guys really help people understand, you know, YouTube, and people, so many more people are on YouTube because of you and James Charles. And I paused and I was like, not true, firstly, but secondly, I guess the innocence of that moment just grabbed my heart so much, because firstly, I mean, my nephew's very smart, okay, but the fact that he thinks James Charles and I are behind YouTube is like so far-fetched. Maybe James Charles more than me, of course, with my 300 and something subscribers. It was just like such an interesting thing to hear. But I guess I don't want to cry. I guess the thing that stood out was just his perception of things, but also his unwavering belief in me. And I guess this is what brings me to this video, is I did not sit on a Sunday and put this makeup on just to cry through it. I would rather cry after. Cool. Okay. Oh, let me tell you, this video is the test of procrastination. When I tell you how many things have gone wrong, this is the fifth time that I'm trying this, and I actually don't even care what I look like at this point, because I've been trying for this long, but it's gonna also prove my point, so I need to keep trying. But basically where I was that I wanted to just kind of have a conversation, because I was thinking a lot about the difference between being lazy and being a procrastinator. And honestly, but the definition of being lazy is just, you know, not wanting to do something, and that's fine, right? But I think with procrastination, there is a certain desire to physically want to force yourself into starting something, but there is something that is tangible that's holding you back. And I think that because it is a little heavier, it's something that's worth interrogating. A lot of us just say, oh, I was too lazy too. And then too lazy turns into like months and months of not doing the thing. So I had to interrogate what that meant for me personally, and also most importantly, why I do the things that I do. The things that I can recognize in terms of why I procrastinate for sure is there's obviously a level of insecurity there around a lot of things. Work confidence has been kind of torn in the last few years. 5 retrenchments will do that to you. So there's an insecurity about, am I good, or am I as good as I think, or am I valuable? And with that conversation comes a lot. So it trickles into friendships, relationships, in every way. There is some way that you can be insecure, and I think that I have an overall insecurity issue that feeds into the procrastination. Along with that comes self-sabotage. Along with that comes, I think, also a fear of failure, but also a fear of success. And I can give an example. The example of the first episode. I was so fearful of putting it out, but then as soon as I realized that this was a purposeful conversation and that people understand what I'm trying to say, I was a little afraid of that success too. Not success like 50k followers, I'm the bot. No, just the success of knowing that somebody understands, or having the validation that people want to hear what you have to say. That in some way was quite scary to me, because that is a win, and I have to be honest and say that my wins have been few and far between. So it's very hard to not feel funny about my wins, because it's like, am I really winning, or is this about to be taken, type of thing. So I think those are the things that make me the procrastinator that I am. I think there's also an element of me that compares slash that is and I will use this word because I know we want to steer clear of using words that make you feel like, oh, I'm this person. You don't want to come off like this person or that person. But the fact is, you're human, and when you're logging on and everybody looks like they're successful and moving forward and pushing and wada, and you're probably putting in the same effort, but what's coming out is not the same. It's hard, and that can cause envy. I wouldn't say jealousy, because wow, like, everybody's wins really truly motivate me. However, there are times where wins will motivate me and then make me cry a little, and I think that's got a lot to do with comparison, and it's also got a lot to do with envy. And I think that I'm a procrastinator because of that too, because I keep comparing where so and so is, where these people are, where my followers are. My followers have remained stagnant, but I haven't had an honest conversation with myself truly about why that is. And things like that have just made me stay a procrastinator. But I think the overall and biggest thing that has made me a procrastinator has definitely been trauma. There's something about trauma that is so, when I think about trauma, I think about it in the context of our bodies. What am I saying? Cool. I guess what I mean by in the context of our bodies is like, if you think about how we used to view the body in biology. So you have the body and it's naked and you see the skin, whatever, and then they take that layer of skin off, and then there's the veins and the muscles and the system in which your body moves essentially to help you live. And I think that trauma is that layer, like the convoluted links between the veins and the muscles that flow, that intricate understanding is what trauma is in our bodies. I think that it's so embedded. It's embedded in the flow of us. It's embedded in the understanding of us. It's embedded in our blood in some way, because it is so all-encompassing in so many different ways. I'll give you a very clear example. Like when my dad passed away, obviously I remember that my dad passed away, right? But very crucial chunks of that time I've completely left my mind. I don't remember so much from that time. I don't remember so much from a friendship breakup that happened 4 years ago. There's so many things that are so blurred, so many conversations that I don't remember. And that is a trauma response in some way. And I think that the collective of my traumas or trauma tend to add to my procrastination, because there's triggers that are attached to that make me feel like, should I do this? Should I be here? Do I deserve to be here? What? I guess everything feeds into everything, and I don't even know if this video is gonna make sense, but I just needed to have a conversation with myself out loud, but also with you guys about, sheesh man, like the self-sabotage can be so real, and sometimes it's really a difference between the conversation, having a conversation with yourself about where you stand and why. It's the why for me. I want to move from being a dreamer to a doer, and I think that I really believe that we all deserve to fully be immersed in what we deserve for ourselves. The same way we wake up and have Monday stress, Monday anxiety, high emotions around work, high emotions around deadlines, about answering a brief, the brief of your soul, the brief that has been put in your body at birth. That brief can be ignored, but the 9-to-5 brief given to you by brief given to you by a stranger doesn't get ignored. And I just brought it down to that in my head, where I was like, wow, Star, you would never miss that deadline, and you would never miss that brief. And if you were not clear on that brief, you would be interrogating the person. So until you understand everything, so that you're able to deliver to the best of your ability. The brief of your soul doesn't even require you to understand anything but yourself. And still, you don't feel it important enough to put a deadline on. You don't feel it important enough to research. You don't feel it important enough to put on your to-do list as something that is stress-inducing, because this is important to your soul. And that is what brought me to this video, because I just felt like, why would I do that to myself? So solutions, I have no idea. There's so many. The internet is rife with them. I think everybody's so different, but I think that the crux, or where you start foundationally with understanding it, is like by, or maybe not understanding it, but by combat, or how you start combating the feeling of procrastination, is by putting a strong focus on your intrinsic motivations, the meaning and the purpose of going back to your personal vision. Like that meaning, that initial, why am I doing this? Why am I here? Why is this important? What, if I don't do this, how will I feel? Why is this a make or break for me? And I think when those things are a reminder to you, you can step out of whatever is physically stopping you from being that person. Sorry, the battery died. And I guess I was having this conversation with myself, like, am I just a lazy girl, or was there something that I need to fundamentally address within myself about, you know, procrastination and why I do it? Because procrastination is like the surface of it, but the core of it is really the why. And I guess that's why this video was really important for me to do, because I wanted to reach out and say, firstly, thank you for your patience. I know it's only been 3 weeks, but to me, knowing how much pre-work I've done to be here, I know that I've betrayed myself in not doing anything in the last 3 weeks. However, I know that fundamentally there was something bigger than just laziness that was stopping me from that. I also wanted to just encourage people to just find like an intrinsic motivation within them that's going to make them want to get up and do this thing no matter what. And an intrinsic is like, it's like finding the meaning and the purpose behind why you're doing something for your personal vision or whatever. It's like about talking to yourself, how to explain this, talking to yourself through things as though you were a friend, and not just saying, oh, I'm lazy and I won't do it today and I'm gonna postpone, and then 5 days later you're mad because why did I postpone that long? No, interrogate it the same way that you would pick the phone up to have a friend kind of review you and audit your movements, or audit you according to how they know you. You know you even better. And so I would just encourage, when you're having those moments of like a lull in energy and trying to figure out why you can't do this thing and feeling lazy, interrogate which part of the procrastination or which feeling of procrastination is igniting this in you, and focus on your intrinsic motivation about why exactly this is something that you cannot delay for another day, another week, another month. I am going to use my own advice, but I thought it was really important to not only put out videos that are like, oh, this is what we're talking about today, but just sit and after an epiphany, just share it. And this is just one of those videos. So yeah, I hope that you remember that being a procrastinator is not synonymous with being lazy. I hope that you remember that your intrinsic motivation is often the thing that will lead you out of this feeling. And I hope that you realize that even those moments of procrastination, or even those moments where you're just like, I really can't do it, that is okay. But just don't bleed into yourself so much that you're just delaying things and you're not even sure why. And I guess that's what the video is about. I don't know what it's about. Laziness, procrastination, I don't know what to call it, but I thought it was an important conversation to have. I can't wait to do the next episode. I'm back in it and interrogating myself on a really high level, or on a really deep level rather. So I hope that with that comes amazing fresh ideas, but also a lot of consistency from my end. So thank you guys. Happy Sunday. You'll probably see this as the week starts. So let me say, I hope that you all have a beautiful week, and I can't wait to share another episode. Mwah. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Before I go, I wanted to say the thing about self-sabotage, and I think the most painful thing about having to interrogate self-sabotage, procrastination, things like that, is the idea. I think the most difficult thing about it is the idea that you could betray yourself on that level. And I think that's the part that's the part. It's the idea that you can stop yourself from everything that you want, and that self-betrayal is something that is just, yeah. So yeah, I think that's the one thing about procrastination. I guess I wanted to say it because I think it's important when you're trying to interrogate yourself and your procrastination, and it's difficult to do. It's difficult to do because it's self-sabotage. It's difficult to do because then you've got to admit that there's something within you that's stopping you, and it's not an outside force. And that, I think, is the scariest part about it. So okay, now the video is over. Shout out to my nephew for putting me in this mental space just with that one sentence. He's absolutely changed how I perceive myself, and not because he's right. Like, screw you guys, I know you guys know the truth, okay, about the fact that I am nowhere near James Charles. However, just the fact that he was unwavering and so sure about who he thinks I am. Why would I doubt that before interrogating why I should believe it? Okay, and now I'm gonna end this. From my heart to yours, thank you for watching.